Inepticast.
Okay, is everyone recorded?
You're damn right, son.
I am recording.
Wonderful. We'll just start off by introducing ourselves, I guess. My name's Sam. You guys want to...
I'm Michael.
I'm Lewis.
I'm Finn.
And we are...
That was... That is so stupid.
We're not gonna... I mean, it's better than Finn's song intro.
What? How dare you?
I mean, yeah, so we've been playing around with the idea of making a podcast for quite a while now, and it's been one of those things that, you know, it's never going to be anything more than just the idea. But here we are.
Wow.
We've made it.
Feels like I'm really contributing to something important here, Sam.
I mean, we're all film students in the UK. We're at 4 different universities, and we just thought it'd be fun to come together, talk about some new films we've seen, talk about some old films we've seen, and criticise the work of industry professionals, because that's what everyone wants to do.
And we're definitely in a position to do that.
We're definitely in the position to do that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we'll go into a little bit of the structure of the podcast first, just because it's the first episode, and you know. So we're going to start every podcast by talking about a newly released film. We'll probably pick one film to talk about in particular, but if there's a few that we might have seen that have just come out, we can always discuss them. And just general film news and anything new that's come out recently. We'll then progress onto a recommended film. So one of us, we will each take turns to talk about a particular film, or to choose a film that we'll all watch and review. And then we're just going to go into like a general discussion, debate in the end, where we've all got a question that we're going to ask each other, and we'll all try and debate as to whose opinion we think is right, because that's what students do.
Cool.
Mine.
I mean, obviously, you know, my opinion is the correct one, but I'm welcome to other ones.
Yeah, Lewis comes from an ethnic background, so he's got the higher ground on everyone here.
So I can play the race card.
But yeah, do we want to get started with the first film?
Yeah.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
So, a few weeks ago, we saw the trailer for Hubie Halloween. We had the pleasure of seeing it mostly together, apart from Lewis. Sorry, Lewis.
It's alright.
And we knew it was going to be a smash follow-up to Uncut Gems for Adam Sandler. We knew it was going to be a 10 out of 10. So, you know, Halloween's all about trick-or-treat. We thought we'd go for a treat. And to introduce the film, classic Sandler, plays Hubie. Every Halloween he tries to save the town. Usually there's nothing wrong. The town does hate him. They do call him Puby. But this Halloween, trouble's afoot, and it's time for Puby to step up to the plate. Sandler and his usual cohort to star. So how do we feel about this one, Sam?
I hated it.
Pretty on point.
I don't know what more to say.
Well, that's Hubie Halloween, everyone. And on to our next film.
I mean, bottom line for me, when we decided to watch it, we decided to talk about this in the podcast before we'd actually seen it. We thought it's going to be from the trailer, it looks like it's a terrible film. We'll be able to laugh at it, make some jokes, have a good time. I couldn't even laugh at the film because there was nothing. It gave me nothing. I don't know how you guys felt.
Oh, you definitely could laugh at the film.
Nah, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty on point.
I mean, I didn't get one genuine laugh out of the film.
I will say, Ben Stiller, it's not a spoiler, he's right at the beginning. Ben Stiller's the best character in the film. When it opened with that Ben Stiller scene, I thought it was actually going to be better than we thought it would be, but unfortunately the rest of the film proved me otherwise.
We never see him again, and that is the end of... That is the best scene in the film.
I just lost my mind because it was Ben Stiller.
Yeah, that really caught me off guard.
Yeah, it definitely... It felt very... I don't know, it felt like Adam Sandler was just trying to get some more money, and he was bringing his character, you know, his typical kind of schlock with a bunch of his friends, including Ben Stiller. So some of them were good. You know, like I like seeing Stu Buscemi, and I like seeing Ben Stiller, and you know, this ensemble cast. I guess it's kind of fun. You know, I mean, if you're kind of going into, I was going into it expecting it the same as all of his other films. You know, they're kind of shit, but
Yeah.
if you can get behind it. But actually, it felt a bit too like, oh, you know, we're trying to get with the times as well. So it kind of felt a bit if you get what I mean, the culture with everything that's happening now with TikTok and everything, and all these like teenagers, and that shit. I just didn't like. I found it really like it just did not hold up.
That is one thing I wanted to mention, if you don't mind me taking over. We talk about how Ben Stiller was, a great addition at the very beginning, but the cast for the rest of it, I know like some of them are Sandler's like normal cast that he has for his comedies, but so many of I know child actors are always a massive debate in films, but so many Disney Channel kids that have now grew up, and now we realise that they can't act, and they were just on telly because they were cute kids. And there's so many of them in this film, and they're all awful.
Exactly, yeah.
Actually, I'll have you know, Shirag Gupta from Diary of a Wimpy Kid plays Indian Freddie Mercury at one point in this film, and it's stand out. He has the best scenes in the movie, apart from Ben Stiller.
I thought his acting was one of the worst. I thought he was one of the worst.
He was the worst. I hope...
It was terrible. It was terrible to the point of being quality.
No,
I mean, the casting alone for that, he was meant to play the cool bully, and I really don't understand it.
Wasn't he the cool bully's henchman?
I mean, I hope Mike was joking.
Oh no, he fully believes it. He is a huge fan. He was anticipating his breakout movie.
I even googled his name. Shout out to Karan Brar. Brilliant performance in Hubie Halloween. He's got a bright career ahead of him. Keep it going. I'm all in on Karan.
How old is he, Michael?
How old is he? He's 21.
Oh really? Oh wow, he's a bright career ahead.
They had who did they have from Stranger Things in it?
Jaden.
Well, it's Noah Schnapp or whatever.
Oh.
Jaden.
Oh,
You were close, Finn.
I was well off. No, there was the guy from It, Jaden Martell, who was the Tin Can Man, the Modern Family woman's son.
Who are you talking about here, Finn?
You know the kid who like fancied the kid behind the coffee shop. He's from the It cast.
Wait,
I think.
is he?
I know who you mean. I don't know. I don't recognise him from anything.
I
Yeah.
don't think there is anyone from It.
Yeah,
in the
that's
film,
not
Finn.
that's not the person from.
Wait,
It.
that's not Jaden Martell.
Check IMDb.
I don't think
check
so.
IMDb.
Oh well. You know what? Shout out to Jaden Martell. I thought you were pretty good at it.
Jaden Martell was great because he wasn't in the film.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Finn. He was not in Hubie Halloween. I don't think.
God damn it.
Yeah, he's not.
I thought it was. Oh God, no! Someone take over.
Someone's done his
Oh,
research.
I thought I did. I was so confident.
Well, who directed Hubie Halloween? Is it someone who's previously directed something with Adam Sandler in it, or is it just a first time director?
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even bother to look.
Well,
It's
I'll have you
Stephen
know.
Brill.
Yeah. He's done Sandy Wexler, which was amazing.
He did Drobit Taylor.
He also did a segment in Movie 43, which is obviously...
What a
Quality.
film!
And Little Nicky. I mean,
Oh God.
he's got a track record for quality entertainment.
But how much control do you reckon he had over the film? Because this is very much an Adam Sandler film. He's credited for writing it, obviously, as well. It gets to a point where an actor controls the project, and I feel like this is one of those films. I don't know. It's very Sandler-esque, isn't it?
I do feel like he probably had the creative control.
Yeah, if you look at it as other films, it's not like they're entirely different. Like they're on the same kind of on wavelength.
Let's not forget, he did warn us
He did.
that if Uncut Gems did badly,
Yeah.
he would do this.
We've only got the Academy to blame.
They've done this to us. The thing is, he's found his place now on Netflix, and I'm not surprised that he'll just be able to. I mean, Jack and Jill, that film cost millions and millions to make, and a lot of people were talking about how that was potentially just. I mean, I guess it's conspiracy theories, but of course you got to play on it when there's a film that shit out there. But a lot of people said that it was like it's just for his mates to do some like money laundering, and he just wanted to make a movie with everyone. And like obviously, now that he's on Netflix, he's just got endless amounts of money because like they've already had Uncut Gems on there with Adam Sandler. Obviously, that's not him like directing it or anything or making it from his studio, but he's got a name for himself. Now Hubie Halloween. He was in that murder mystery film with Jennifer Aniston or whatever, which I think was by Happy Madsen. So he's just making his money. I think he's running away with the bank. So I can't fault him, I guess, but I can fault his shitty ass films where he puts on an accent.
The accent is terrible.
Yeah, I will say this film, I was ready to give it a 5 out of 10, but the more I think about it, that accent does drag down the entire film. If it wasn't for the accent, it'd be just dreadfully average. But with the accent, it's below par. It's 4 out of 10. I can't do it.
Because we were saying before, like, well, I like to watch films with subtitles anyway. I don't know why necessarily. I just like to be able to read as well. But I needed them for this. Films like this, I don't really want to read along, but I needed to every time he was on screen. You really just can't understand what he's saying. And the biggest crime of the film is that the characters he's speaking to do understand what he's saying, and there's no like language barrier at all between him and who he's talking to during the film, and that just really threw me off.
Yeah. Also, the characters, like in general, they all like obviously he's a character in the film that everyone's like, like oh, it's Hubie, he's silly, but like it almost like it's kind of weird. It's like he's got like this lore around him because everyone's like, oh, Hubie, and it kind of got on my nerves because I was like, I don't give a fuck about this guy who's apparently trying to save Halloween all the time and like save people, and like he's the most aggravating person, like. And then I mean I don't know if we're not allowed to spoil it, but the ending I just did not care, like that reveal.
Oh,
I was like, cool.
I mean, do we want to? We can do spoilers. We can do a spoiler alert here if you do want to get into the ending. Not like anyone cares what the ending of Hubie Halloween.
I was gonna say, yeah. Tune off now if you're not interested. If you're interested
now
in
if you're
watching
really
it,
excited for Hubie Halloween.
Noah Schnapp.
Wait, before we tune off, let Finn finish his point before we ask people to go away for
Thank you. Sorry, Noah Schnapp. That was the actor. That was the Modern Family Woman.
We said that already.
I said Noah Schnapp.
Oh, did you?
Clarified that.
Said it already.
Thank you, Finn.
Well, I'll go back Lewis up. He's right. It was Noah Schnapp.
From Stranger Things, right?
Yeah. Did you guys know he's 5'9"? He's a Libra. He's doing bits. Good for you, Noah Schnapp. You keep tracking. You keep tracking, Noah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I like what you're cooking.
To be fair, he was inoffensive. He didn't do anything bad the whole time.
No. How could he? He's Noah Schnapp.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he's just there.
it's the sort of film that when it's offered to you, you're gonna take it. You're gonna be like, yeah, I'll be in that film. It's gonna make money. You just don't turn it down, do you?
Oh, definitely. I'd go and hang out with Adam Sandler and his friends in a fake Halloween setting and get money out of it.
Yeah.
I will say,
I'd probably get annoyed, but
I will say, the good news is for any avid Adam Sandler fans out there, his next film is actually looking to be a dramatic movie.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Which is where I think he's been shining. It's called Hustle. It's a sports drama by the looks of it, because the cast is Adam Sandler, Ben Foster, Robert Duvall.
ooh,
He's a washed-up baseball scout, and he discovers a phenomenal street ball player while in China. So it looks like he's going to use that as a way to get back into the NBA.
Oh wow.
Oh,
fair
fantastic.
enough.
Sports
What if he's
drama.
going to put any accents on for the film?
He's grown a beard.
Give him the Oscar now. As soon as I saw that bottom lip like go out of his when he started speaking at the start, I was like, oh, I'm in for this. Is going to be good. It's back to his best.
I mean, he's proved that he can act. Like Punch Drunk Love, he's amazing. I'm yet to see Uncut Gems, but I mean, it's undoubtable that he is great in that. But this is just where he's at the minute. His head's at. He just doesn't care. I don't think. I mean, fair play. He's making money. That's what I want to make money too.
Yeah. I feel like given the right material, he is a really great actor. But obviously, when he's in charge of his own company and doing his own thing, yeah, he's just gonna fall into his stereotyping, his character. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. So so spoiler alert, but like, yeah, I like who's his mum again? Is it June Squibb or whatever? She like,
Oh, I
I
couldn't
just
tell you.
I felt like it was just I mean I don't really have much to say about it. It was just a very bleh film, and like there's all these like moments. Why is like I mean is it Roy Scheider? He's the no sorry Ron what's his name again?
Rob Schneider.
He's the Rob Schneider. He's the fucking
Rob Schneider.
yeah. He's whatchamacallit, the actual prisoner or whatever, or the serial killer, and I just
That whole plot line really annoyed me, I feel.
it didn't really go anywhere in my opinion, and by the end of it, it isn't really resolved.
No, it's just kind of there. And it's meant to be a comedic relief by the end, and I didn't get anything out of it at all.
With the like Happy Madison, the Happy Madison Productions though, it is kind of fun to see all of them. Like watching the film, I was waiting for like Rob Schneider and like Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh god.
You was waiting for Shaquille O'Neal.
I know Mike in particular is really annoyed about that one cameo.
Yeah.
What, Shaquille?
Shaquille as the DJ.
I just thought, why would you do that to Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah.
He's like
He's
the man's
amazing.
like
I
a
thought it
sports
was
legend.
fantastic.
To be fair, he has done some horrible films in the past, but
No, Steel's
I mean,
great.
there's no need
He
to
was also in
there's no need to drag him back for Hubie Halloween and make him a woman. You know what I mean? Like, no, not that there's anything wrong with that, but
he was also in was it Grown Ups?
Is he in Grown
Or
Ups?
Grown Ups 2, he was a policeman.
Oh god.
Yeah, I think it might have been Grown Ups 2.
I've never seen Grown Ups all the way through.
Oh, well, there we go. He has been in like the Happy Madison Productions before. I think it was Grown Ups 2. Someone might have to. I'll have a look. But he was definitely a cop, and he was amazing. Shaquille O'Neal.
For anyone listening, I wouldn't trust Finn. He has not done his research on Hubie Halloween.
I have. I'm just bad. Well, I thought I did. And
You're
then
looking at it right now, aren't you?
Well, I have it up. I have it up. It was hard to have like a serious moment at the start of the film with the mum trying to say to Big Bad Adam Sandler, "Hey, you're getting bullied," but while she was trying to have this serious moment, she was wearing a shirt which said "Boner Donor" on it. It just completely took me out of it.
I think jokes like that, if they're left as observational humour, they can work, but as soon as but then they have a massive conversation about what she thinks the word means, and then it comes into play later on in the film where they keep bringing it up, and it just they beat it till it's dead, and if it's observational, it might work to a certain extent. But when they just keep beating you over the head with it, it really gets on my nerves.
It did feel very. I mean, most of it just felt forced. It was playing itself for visual gags, and I guess I'm gonna count Adam Sandler's voice as a visual gag because that was fucking horrendous. So, it's yeah. I mean, I like the settings of some place. So like the drive-in cinema and that, it has a good heart to it in a weird way, but it's still bogged down just by the amount of the amount of just like crass and crude and just like gross out humor, and like I said, I did find the younger actors in it like it's supposed to be, I guess it's supposed to be current, but it felt very forced, like someone who was not a teenager had written it at points.
It's what's weird. I think the weirdest part about Adam Sandler comedy films now is he was doing this 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And it gets to a point where it's like, it's weird because it's like he's making movies for the same people, but they've all grown up. And like the way comedy is now, it's a very different landscape. And it's so weird because it feels like he's making kids movies, but with all these gross jokes in. And it just, the whole tone of it all is so confused.
Yeah.
And it just makes it's like, who is this film for? It can't be just for kids because you've got Boner Donor written on the mum's shirt. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, Adam Sandler's pulling this fucking terrible voice all the way through, and it's just like, who is this for? I mean, other than die-hard Sandler fans, which apparently there's so many out there, but it's just ridiculous to me.
I mean, I wouldn't say I was disappointed by it, but
I mean, it was what I expected it, in all fairness. But when I said at the start, it wasn't something that I could laugh at, I guess, because like the typical terrible films like The Room, Birdemic, You laugh at those films, and I was expecting to a certain extent to watch this and be able to laugh at how bad I think it is. But I just found myself rolling my eyes for pretty much every scene, and it got frustrating to a certain amount. I'm glad I watched it with someone else, because if I'd have watched it alone, I don't think I've been able to have sat through it. I think that's where Lewis is coming from anyway, because I think you watched it on your own, didn't you?
Yeah, it felt like I was being like waterboarded for an hour and 30.
Oh dear. I mean, is it worth going into the big reveal, so to speak, at the end? I don't even think it's worth having a conversation about. It's not that.
It's really not, because it falls so
No.
flat. It doesn't mean anything.
No, I think
Yeah.
in terms of our final words in it, if you want to go and if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it and you want to see it, go see it. But you're not getting my recommendation, at least.
There was at least some good songs in the film. Like, I know there was like Werewolves in London and Monster Mash. That was quite nice.
Yeah.
That was, you know.
But
that
can you
was
have
there.
a Halloween film without, like a Halloween comedy without those songs in it?
No,
it's just
no, but
textbook stuff, I think.
Oh, absolutely! But I'm glad they're in there.
Yeah, I guess. So.
I'm trying to give some positivity to it, like, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate your commitment, Finn.
Thanks, man. I'm trying, Adam.
Final scores, guys, on Hubie Halloween.
I'm going like 4. I'll go at 4. Yeah, I agree with Michael. I mean, you said earlier yourself you were gonna give it like a mediocre rating. So like 5 was initially my thought, but then the more I think about it, yeah, like there's so much stuff that drags it down. Adam Sandler's voice. I mean, like the fact that there isn't really no character development, like per se, because really it was just an excuse to get them all together and have some fun Halloween times. And can't fault it for that. Like like I said, it has a good heart in some places, but as a film, like it's just not. It's nothing that I would want to watch again. And that's why it's a straight 4 for me.
Oh yeah, I'll jump in. So I'm gonna be a bit crazy here, bit loco. So we're gonna. Sorry, Sam. So I'm gonna go for a 3 out of 10. Hold up now.
Wow.
I know what you're thinking. Why is he giving it a 3? I'll tell you. On your own, I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. But if you're with somebody watching it and you can have a laugh watching it, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 just for the pure entertainment of watching it with that person and just having fun at the movie's expense. On your own, 3 out of 10, but with someone laughing at it, oh, that bumps up those numbers.
I mean,
That's
speaking from someone who didn't watch it on his own and did watch it with someone else, my rating isn't going any higher than it would be if it was on my own. Well, I guess I had someone there to roll my eyes with. But I mean, maybe we should all get together one day and watch it. Next Halloween, we'll all get together. Mike's shaking his head. No.
God.
Well,
Is that going to be the packed thing?
My initial Letterboxd review for it, I gave it like a half star, which should be a 1 out of 10. I think I was very, very harsh. But at the time of writing it, I couldn't think of anything I liked about it at all. But I'd bump it up to a 2 or a 3, simply because it's not like certain, like Lewis mentioned, some of the sets you can tell they tried with, and it's not exactly like, I mean, there's nothing special about how it's shot, but it's not shot terribly. Like, I think there's just nothing to it story-wise, and the jokes don't work for me, the characters are horrendous, and Adam Sandler's voice alone takes the ratings down a couple for me. 2 or I can't put a number on it, 2 or 3 out of 10. I'm never going to rewatch it.
Well, so I mentioned earlier I was going to do a 4 out of 10, which I'm sticking to. But I did want to mention the fact that, like I said, I was going to go for a 5. And that's simply because it's not Jack and Jill. It's not Jack and Jill. It's not Little Nicky. It's not Jack and Jill. It's not Little Nicky. It's not the worst Sandler I've ever seen. It was just boring. So yeah, and like I said, the voice brings it down to a 4. But on positives, it's not the worst Sandler that I've ever seen. It's just the middle. It's the middle. It's there. It exists. I wouldn't recommend it.
I guess I don't have that comparison. I haven't seen Jack and Jill. So I guess if I'd have seen that, maybe I'd have rated it higher.
That's something we need to get you to watch. We need to get you on. Jack
If one
and
of you recommends Jack and Jill when it comes to your
God.
recommendation, just quit the podcast on episode 3 or something.
It's over. I like how Adam Sandler's in this bracket of actor that you have to base him off of his films, like, specifically. You can't say, like, well, compared to this other film, it's like Jack and Jill, Hubie Halloween.
It's because he's so
And maybe then
versatile.
Punch Drunk Love.
There's definitely like a section of actors that you can put into that small group of, they're not consistently good. They've got their films that they're great in, the films that they're terrible. People like John Travolta, like he's done some good stuff.
Nicolas Cage.
And Nicolas Cage.
Kevin James.
Will Smith.
Fuck off with Kevin James.
What good has Kevin James ever done? What good has Kevin James ever done?
Have you seen Here Comes the Boom? Have you seen Here
Here
Comes the
comes
Boom?
the boom.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Shut your mouth. Here Comes the Boom.
Can't
It's a
fault
quality family experience for all. That is Kevin James's uncut gem.
Let's move on. I feel sick.
Yeah, we all ready to move on to the next film?
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm happy.
Yeah. Okay, so usually on this part of the podcast, we'll talk about a recommended film, which was recommended from the episode previous. Because it's the first episode, we all put in a suggestion and we all voted on someone else's. And the person who won was Lewis. So do you want to introduce what film you chose?
Yeah, sure. So this week we all watched Mandy. Came out 2018, and basically the story's about it stars Nicolas Cage, and he basically lives in the Pacific Northwest, I believe, in 1983, and it just follows him, and he's with his wife Mandy, and they live in a secluded area in the woods. He's a lumberjack, and then it basically devolves into like an LSD kind of like cosmic trip of vengeance where his wife is, it's not a spoiler because it's the main point of the film, it's a vengeance film, but his wife, something happens to her and he just goes on a bloody vengeance to avenge her by fighting some satanic biker gang, and also a cult that also live like somewhere in like this otherworldly cosmic world. It's a weird film. It's really strange, but it's for a Halloween film, I think it's really, really good, and I'd recommend it again. I already want to rewatch it.
I'm really glad you recommended it because it's been on my watch list for a long time, but I'm not a massive fan of horror, so it's something that I just thought I'd never get to. But when you recommended it, I thought it's the perfect opportunity to watch it. And I didn't find it a horror film. I don't think it is at its core a horror film. There's obviously lots of horrific elements to it. There's a lot of gore elements to it, but as a horror, like it's not your traditional horror. I'd say it's more of an action thriller. Personally,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I feel like, I mean, it's got a lot of elements to it, so I definitely agree that it's an action thriller, B-movie-esque, kind of like Assault on Precinct 13 or Escape from New York kind of style, in my opinion. But it's just got like this tint of like cosmic horror, and like, obviously, like I said, there's like all the biker gang in it. They've kind of been consumed by like tainted LSD, so it's got like very horrific moments of like, yeah, trippy scenery and lots of blood, and obviously classic Nicolas Cage freakouts. So I definitely think it's more in line with, like you said, a kind of more of an action thriller. But the horror elements in it, like I never got scared, but I definitely was like, I was entranced by how dark it became.
Yeah, this is the first time I saw Mandy ever. I didn't watch the trailer or anything coming into it. I might have been showed the trailer by Michael before ages ago, but I'd forgotten about it. So I went in not having a clue, and I enjoyed myself. I'm gonna put that there at the start. I really enjoyed myself, and you could tell with a lot of the stuff that happens that the writers really enjoyed writing it, and were really creative with deaths, and the cinematography was pretty awesome as well, and the different colors they used, and there's a big well, I was telling before the podcast that I thought it was called Mandy because of like the drug, but then forgot that the main woman's name was Mandy. But I thought like Nick Cage was really, really awesome in this film. I'm a bit cheesy, so I do like a lot of his other stuff, like National Treasure, one of the best films
Oh
ever
my
created.
god.
But like there was a lot of like scenes in this film where I saw him acting and was like, oh, Nicolas Cage is the man. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, I really enjoyed Mandy. I thought the pacing was good, the cinematography was good, the direction was good, but also how fun it was for like a horror and thriller. Like I wasn't expecting to almost laugh so much, and we'll get into more specific scenes later on.
Okay, so this is my second time watching Mandy. I watched it for the first time a few months ago, and I absolutely loved it. I went through a little Nicolas Cage binge, and in my opinion, this is the best Crazy Cage since Face Off. He had that amazing thing going in the 90s where he was so unpredictable. We've seen glimpses of it. We've seen Wicker Man. We've seen that.
Oh, God.
We've seen Crazy Cage poke his head around. But this is Crazy Cage with a purpose. This is Crazy Cage, but also good, which is, in my opinion, he's good in this. It's not just, it's crazy Nicolas Cage. This is a good performance, I think. And, that's what I think about Mandy. I think it's great. This time I watched it with my girlfriend just to see what other people react to it, people who don't usually watch films like this, how they react. And that was really interesting too. I'll get into it in a bit.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your description of Nick Cage's performance. I think this, compared to things like Wicker Man, which he's famously terrible for, is because it's not just a film about vengeance in this. Obviously that's the main drive, but there's so many more layers to his character in this. I feel like the whole vengeance arc of the film wouldn't work at all unless you were invested within their relationship. And the vengeance act doesn't begin until an hour into the film. So you spend all
literally
of this time...
at the halfway point.
Yeah. So you spend all of this time investing in this relationship in a really slow and sweeping depiction of it. And I just think that is what makes the film work, because a film... a lot of the criticism around this film, I did a bit of research into what critics think of it, and the main faults it has is its plot, and I agree with that. I think it's not very plot heavy and it doesn't focus on story as much, but I don't think that matters for this film. The main drive obviously is the character arc that Nick Cage goes through, and obviously the visual aesthetic of the film and the music totally work with that, but I don't find the plot to be as big an issue as a lot of the critics that I've been reading about.
Yeah, that's true. I'd say with the plot itself, like you said, it's pretty linear and straightforward. But what I found so enjoyable about it was the way that all the music came together, because it's quite rock heavy, or it's got satanic overtones with the literally the very beginning of the film. It starts with a quote talking about when you die, lay your guitar on me or something like that. It's some weird rock quote. So I really liked its influences on heavy metal, and also it's just got the gonzo action of it. But like you said, what really kind of brought me into it was the setting of this world and how the film starts. It really doesn't get into the vengeance part until about literally halfway through. I think Mandy, she dies on the exact halfway mark, and then from then on it is just pure Nicolas Cage, just outrageously bursting out, killing people, and then moments of him being really emotional, which I really enjoyed. But that intro, I mean, it obviously sets it up quite slow, and I will say that the first time I watched it, I thought there were pacing issues, where I was waiting for things to get going, because I shouldn't have, but I'd heard so much about it and watched trailers and stuff, and I was waiting for the vengeance to happen. But once it actually gets into it, it becomes the exact film I wanted, and it really doesn't, in terms of cinematography and soundtrack, acting, performances, and just the style, it really doesn't waver at all, except for maybe the animation parts. I will say some of that I wasn't sure about.
Yeah, that caught me off guard a little bit. I thought it still looked cool, but in terms of adding to the film, I thought you could have cut it out, and I wouldn't have changed my, I wouldn't have changed anything.
I thought it was a cool way of showing that it was a dream rather than a flashback, because with the weird weird kind of aesthetic they've already got going and the colors. I feel like if using animation kind of shows that it wasn't real, whereas if you just saw Mandy as the actress, Andrea Riseborough definitely ruined that pronunciation.
You think
I
so?
feel like I probably would have thought it was like a flashback.
Well,
because I think they use animation when he gets knocked out or he's having a sleep, and I thought that was quite cool.
That's interesting because I thought the other way around because at the very beginning it's got the moment where she's looking at it's like a dead baby deer, I think,
Yeah.
or a goat, and like, yeah, like that moment, like it felt very like dream sequency or just trippy in that sense. And what I liked about that is it never, in the next scene it wasn't her waking up. I liked that it kept it ambiguous. So I was kind of like, if they had moments like that in there, I feel like, I mean, it would have added to the confusingness of it, which is true. But like, I liked, yeah, I just liked how a lot of the film felt like it could be real and it could also just be a dream.
I think going into that, like what Finn and Lewis had just said about, what's real and what isn't real in this film, I think what's really amazing is they set it up so potentially you could see that it's all real. You know what I mean? Like, that you could just say that this is all the result of an acid trip. It's explained by...
Yeah.
There's a scene with an explanation by an LSD manufacturer who Cage talks to, where the whole film is like, it's as magical as you want it to be. Obviously, it doesn't get much more magical than Nicolas Cage forging his own axe, but it's whether you decide that's real or not, any of it is, I think it's great how they managed to pull that off in a way that it is really just up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I think if any film could get away with not, like, quote marks, cheesy dream sequences, this is the film that could have done it. So that's why I kind of feel the animation is a bit lost for the film. I think you could have quite easily have had a dream sequence, but not told the audience that it's a dream sequence. For example, where I assume we're going to get into spoilers eventually, so it's not too much of a spoiler. But at the end, when Nicolas Cage is driving away in his car, and he turns to the seat next to him and he sees Mandy there, that's clearly not happening. But it's not shown in animation, so I guess I would have liked a bit of consistency in that sense. But I feel like the animation could have been replaced with live action dream sequences, and I think that could have worked just as well. Because how many animation like sequences were there in the film? I can only remember a couple.
I think 3.
I think there are
I think there were 2.
2, or if you include, I guess, the very end when the final shot, 3 in a way. But then that's more of a painting, I guess.
Yeah, I won't call that. It's definitely not an animation compared to the ones early on in the film, which are just pure animated drawings.
But I mean, overall though, like you were saying with the Michael was saying about this specifically, when there's that explanation that all of this could potentially just be an acid trip, a really, really intense acid trip, and that makes it leaves it open to interpretation about what could be happening or what this world is. I mean, sure, there are moments in it, so I feel like, I mean, if we haven't said spoiler alert already, I mean, we feel like we've probably gone into it already. So I like the scenes when they're calling the biker gang with the I don't know what it is, like a rock flute, and then like they appear,
The horn.
like, yeah, the horn, that's it, sorry. Like, there are moments like that which are clearly not, well, in my opinion, or the way I interpreted it, wasn't within like an LSD trip, and like they literally drink blood and stuff. So I feel like there is something otherworldly going on in the film, but at its core, it's obviously just focused on Nicolas Cage, and he's just lost Mandy, and he's going for like a proper vengeance trip in the depths of hell. And I was reading some like interesting theories about what the film could be interpreting, and I kind of agreed with some of it in the sense of like, it could all just be like an inner struggle with the main villain, the scene where he presents himself to Mandy, he takes his robe off, and the only way that, in that scene, the only way that he could kind of be like hurt to the most extent is to be laughed at, and like she literally laughs at him, and then he decides to kill her. And I just think that it's all about, I don't know, like masculinity, toxic masculinity. I felt like was in there, especially with like all these chainsaws and everything going around. And I mean, the director himself, I can't remember his name. It's Panos Cosmatos, I think.
Yeah.
He said that he is very anti-masculine, and he thinks toxic masculinity, is something that he addresses in a lot of his films, or specifically the 2 films that he's made. And I kind of felt like you could see that in Mandy, with the fact that Nicolas Cage, he isn't the most manliest of men, but he he's just loves his wife and looks after her, and then this kind of cult happens upon them, and he's obviously thinks he's a god, and he is like the the Messiah. And I thought that was really, really interesting, like that take through like, I guess, like all this cosmic imagery.
He's literally a lumberjack.
Yeah, exactly. He's a lumberjack as well. So it kind of
He's a lumberjack.
It plays on that side of, like, I don't know, everyone, like throughout the film, it feels like in a weird way Nicolas Cage plays the character really softly, but then he's also got nails in his hand, and he's like chopping people's heads off, and then he's like smoking cigarettes or lighting cigarettes off of like cut off heads and that. So it's a weird mixture.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm not gonna lie too much. Like before, because when the film, well, for me personally, when the film really started is when the title screen come up with Mandy, when Nick Cage was like just about to go on his
a great addition.
Yeah. I thought that was good, but also like the film for me at the start was very slow up to that point. Like it was good, I enjoyed it, but I thought that like the best bit of the film was when Nick Cage was just going on a crazy binge.
Yeah, that's completely justified.
Personally, anyway.
I completely get that.
Yeah, it's the same. I felt that like the pacing does feel quite slow at first, and I feel like I obviously appreciate directors indulging in like what they want to do, but there were moments in it where I was thinking it's maybe a bit too indulgent, with like the repeated scenes of different pure saturated red, and then moments that really didn't, I don't know, like I was still waiting for something else to happen. I think it properly picks up, like you said, when the Mandy title screen comes, or when she gets given the LSD and gets stung in the neck, and like they do that weird shot where he's looking at her, but then she becomes him. I thought that was like that's what it made me go like, wow, like that's such a good shot.
The first time I watched that film, I was actually I was quite tired because I was watching it late. And when that scene was happening, I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. Like in my head, I was like, So, yeah, and then I realised, obviously, like, because it's quite a long shot. So like, I eventually realised, but the craziness of it at first, it's such a brilliant image, like the merging. And it's so subtle. It's not like it is just, oh, okay, they've mirrored them. But the use of the lighting and how they do have quite similar
it's the eyes, I think, as well. The eyes stay like the same.
It doesn't just come out of nowhere. They set it up, the distortion, like you mentioned, this from the, was it what insect was it she was stung with?
It was
like a big wasp.
It's called like a tarantula hawk,
like
or something.
Big old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because from that moment onwards, the visual style of the film is very disorientating. Everyone's voice is lowered a pitch or two. From that moment onwards, you're kind of entranced in the same way that she is. So that shot like that you were just talking about, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. They really set it up from that point onwards, and it really works. And that whole scene is amazing, I think.
I think one thing we've neglected to talk about, like we've skirted around the subject, is we've talked about Nicolas Cage's performance, but Linus Roach as Jeremiah Sand, the cult leader, I think it's a really great performance. It's really strange. He's quite similar to Marilyn Manson in some aspects. You can tell he's drawn some stuff from there. Like the way
that's where the heavy metal comes in as well.
Pigs.
That pop idol style.
Yeah, exactly. But just the power he has, or that first scene where you see him speaking to the woman that and she loves him, and he's like, you can't help me in any way, like he plays it so well. And the outrage, the fact that when she's laughing at him, he doesn't shout at her, You know, obviously he does. He says like, "Shut the fuck," but he immediately turns to his followers and he says, "Don't fucking look at me." You know, and he points to all one of them and makes sure they're looking away in his moment of weakness because he is their cult leader. You know, that he is the Messiah. You know, I think that was a really great reaction.
Yeah, I mean, not just him. I think obviously Nicolas Cage is like we spoke about him. He's great in this, but I think all round, every cast member did a great job. I can't think of it. Obviously, we can't comment too much on the biker demon things because they were there for muscle really. But people who gave performances were
do you mean Slipknot?
That fell on flat ears, didn't it, Finn?
I was like holding on to it for so long. I was just prying. I was like waiting for a moment to
really want
to like. I was like,
I could tell as soon as you said it, you were like, finally, it's coming out.
I was waiting for so long just to say, oh, they look like Slipknot, right, guys? I was like, I've held on to it like for 20 minutes now, and I'm just happy. I'm happy I said my piece. You know, that's it.
But
that is it.
I mean,
go back to talking about the good stuff now.
What you're saying about like the scene when he's saying to all of his followers, he's like, don't look at me, that I think what made that scene so much more powerful is because it does feel like, I don't know, as a character he doesn't really have that much to him in terms of like, you don't see him that often. You see him at the beginning, you see him, at that point, which is like the middle and then the end. But it sets him up as like he is the leader, he's the cult leader, he's the messiah to them, and he kind of I don't know, I feel like in that moment like the only thing she could have done to actually really put him down was laugh at him, and it's like it's killed him, like his ego just depletes, because I mean there's nothing more than being, I think it's connected to a lot of I wouldn't properly go into it, but like kind of like Freudian, theories about. I think he asked what would be the most like the worst thing a woman could do to you as a man, and a lot of the men said like if they laughed at me, and that moment he's naked. He obviously he's naked looking directly at her, and then she laughs at him and won't stop, and that's like the ultimate fuck you. So I feel like that's when it sets off. It's like, ooh, it's so good.
The angry masturbation. Like, I know it's like, he's angrily masturbating, but like the addition of that as well, the fact that he still tries to take control, his immediate response is, no, this is happening.
Yeah.
And then she keeps laughing and it just breaks him. And, it's like, it's very similar to where he is at the end, and he's insistent, this is, God's in here. You can't touch me. This is it. You're not, he really believes it. You're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he realizes he is in trouble,
yeah,
just the extent he'll go to,
dick.
I'll suck your dick. Yeah, is that what you want? But then as he only loses it for a second, he goes straight back and he's like, no, you're supposed to be kneeling for me. It's his commitment to being that leader.
And to go back and forth between those two personalities, I think he's not talked about enough as being a great performance for us. Obviously the film didn't make it a lot of money. I think it cost $6 million to make, and it only made $1 and a bit back, and it's quite a shame. Obviously, I didn't see it when it came out, so I'm not helping. But it is something that needs to be seen more. I think it's a type of horror that we don't.
I have it on physical, so I've contributed.
Okay, well done, Mike.
Well, I want to see more from the director himself, because he did Beyond the Black Rainbow before this.
Yeah, I really want to check that one out too. That's been on my watch list as well. But now I've seen Mandy, I'm definitely going to check that out at some point.
Definitely, I'm interested. And it's also produced by Elijah Wood as well, and he's got his hands in a lot of great horror films. Frodo's back. Yeah, he's really making moves at the moment in terms of producing.
Also, before
can we?
Oh, sorry, yeah, go on, Lewis.
Oh yeah. I was going to say, can we talk about the chainsaw scene? Because I thought that scene was amazing. It's that scene when he brings the fat chainsaw out. I was like, oh my god.
That's what I was going to kind of mention. This film is like one big... Obviously, it's set in the 80s. Like 83, I think you said. But it's one big homage to the 80s. I mean, that scene alone is a big homage to, I think, Chainsaw Massacre 2. With the chainsaw. I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but there's so many different things. Like they talk about the carpenters when Jeremiah talks. References that. There's so many different things, but that chainsaw scene is incredible. It's just.
It is so good.
when he draws that massive chainsaw out from behind.
I started laughing. I was just like, love it.
It's when you talked earlier about toxic masculinity and how the director, is something that he definitely thinks about. It could be valid that the small chainsaw, the guy with the small chainsaw wins.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like they make a point. They make a point of him revealing that giant chainsaw. As if it's like it is
like it's a big deal.
And then he loses. So
yeah.
it definitely could be. Maybe I'm looking into it too much.
No, it's true. I thought that as well. Yeah, it's the same with when he wakes up and he's in the biker gang's hideout, and then when he walks into that room and there's that old man and he's bent over and he's obviously bloodied up from behind, and then he walks into the other room and the man, the biker gang dude has got like a dick, like a knife dick or whatever, and like that is like horrifying. But obviously it's playing, I guess,
the worst.
You say the best?
No, I said it's the worst.
Oh, I think you're like, yeah, man, the best. Yeah, it's probably like, oh my god, like. But yeah, that's there's moments in there, I guess it really gets under your skin. I mean, it's the same when he like makes the guy deep throat the knife when he gets him out of the car.
Oh god, yeah, that scene.
Yeah, it really pushes for like, I don't know, like I maybe we are reading into it too much, but I definitely felt like the toxic masculinity overtones of like, there's the giant chainsaw, there's the knife dick, there's like literally making deep throating the knife and everything like that.
He's definitely got a theme running throughout. But I think that kind of stuff, they don't cut away from it. They make you watch it in long takes, and they don't cut away like a lot of films would. The first hour of the film, like we said, it's developing the relationship, and we see that through long takes. And instead of doing what most films would do, and for the second half of the film, resort to quick cuts and cutting away from action to make it, more budget friendly and so forth, we stick with the long takes and we watch everything in its entirety, and I think that it's really effective in those like gore scenes, because films, I'm not usually a fan of films like that. I think what comes to mind are the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, the Saw films. As a whole, yeah. I'm not a fan of at all. I wouldn't choose to watch them, but this film goes for a very similar thing, but like comes at it in a completely different angle, and I think it was really effective.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of did you guys ever watch what's it called? It's got Vince Vaughn in it, Brawl in Cell Block 99. Yeah, because it has the obvious fake prosthetics of, like he squishes the guy's head at the end, and it's obviously not real, but it, like in Brawl in Cell Block 99, like he stamps on people's jaws and they pop out, and like, he's like, you're breaking people's arms and that, and the prosthetic, it's proper like B movie gritty. Obviously, Brawl in Cell Block 99 is more straightforward grittiness, but I think in terms of like horror, it really goes for like the gruesome gonzo violence route, which I really enjoyed, like coupled with like all the LSD imagery and stuff.
Quentin would be proud of all the blood in this film.
True.
There's a lot of it.
Should we get to ratings?
Yeah, who wants to set us off?
Finn?
Sure thing. Let's go crazy. If it was just the first half of this film, I would have put it probably a 5 out of 10. But because the second half was so good and I loved it so much, and Nick Cage being crazy and back to his best, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. There we go. 7 out of 10. That just above average, I would say. I really enjoyed it. I just think the first bit and how slow it was just dropped it down a few marks for me. Just dropped it down a few marks. That's all.
Did it really like, was the pacing really off for you at the beginning then?
I actually like had to check my phone. I was like, how long is this movie going on for? Because I know Nick Cage was on the front. And I was like, when's Nicolas coming into this? And when as soon as I checked my phone and we were only like 30 minutes in or whatever, I was like, okay.
Well, that's what I was talking about, like indulgence. I feel like the director definitely indulges in the slow burn of it in the first half, and then once he gets into it, that's when it's in full swing, when he's got Nicolas Cage like front and center.
Yeah, no, 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Okay. Well, actually, I'm someone who really loves B movies. My favorite film trilogy is probably The Evil Dead. So,
Fair,
when it
fair.
comes to this sort of thing, it's what I love. And and I love 90s Nicolas Cage. It's got a few ingredients. The cosmic vibe. I really dig all that stuff, the neon and everything. And to be honest, the first half to me, I didn't get as badly affected by the pacing as others did. It seems. For me, it's like I really love slow burn films. Anyway, I'm happy to watch a film that's 3.5 hours, and it doesn't have to be action packed to be that long. I'm happy with things taking their time to get places, especially when they're worth it, which is what this is for me. Like I said, I really like the performances in this. I really like the action. I mean, it doesn't get better than a chainsaw fight. I mean, come on. Like I said, I'm an Evil Dead guy. Chainsaws are a thing. Chainsaw fight. I mean, come on. And it's Nicolas Cage forging an axe with aviators on. I mean, there's so many beautiful moments in this film. For me, it's an 8. It's an 8 out of 10. Easy. 8 out of 10.
I've rated it a 7 out of 10 like Finn did. I didn't feel like... the pacing at the beginning didn't bother me. I prefer almost slower pacing in films. The reason I've probably gave it a 7 out of 10 the same as Finn is because I don't think the second half lets me down at all. I think it fulfills exactly what it's trying to. It's just not the kind of thing that I'd usually watch. That's my main reason for not rating it as high as Mike has, for example. But I definitely
Oh, that's fair, yeah.
enjoyed it. I'd definitely revisit it. I'd like to watch it with someone because I watched it on my own. Like you said, Mike, it'd be good to watch with someone to see what their reaction is for someone that isn't used to watching this kind of thing, because it's not the sort of thing I usually watch, and I really liked it. So, and I also think obviously the director and the cinematographer, they were going for something so unique, and even with the score, like the slow synth electric sound, I think it's really like it's just a work of art, really. And that's what they were going for, a work of art, because they're not focusing on plot too much. But I invested within Nick Cage's character. I think his performance was great. I don't think we can go this whole discussion without talking about that bathroom scene. The one take bathroom scene where he goes through about
So
4 or 5
that little
different
freak out
emotions.
moment.
Yeah, and he's using vodka to cleanse his wounds, and I think that's great.
I have a tidbit about that. I have a little tidbit about that.
Oh yeah.
Just as production was about to start on this film, Nicolas Cage divorced his wife, and he said it came out of nowhere. So he said, all those feelings had to go somewhere, so he poured it in. According to him, he poured it into his Mandy performance, which I think kind of explains that bathroom scene a little
fair
bit
enough.
more.
I mean that I can definitely see that. But yeah,
It's pretty raw.
I really enjoyed it. 7 out of 10 for me.
Not fair. Well, I remember when I first watched it, I had some issues with the pacing, like I said. But after rewatching it for this, I think there's a scene where it's when he gets caught by the biker gang and he's tied up, and then he kind of wakes up and he like screams at one of the bikers, and then the biker guy goes up to him and he like cuts his chest. And he just looks at him and he says, he looks at him after he's cut him, like really deep. He's like, "That was my favorite shirt." And I was just like, you know what? This film's so good. Like, and there's so many just crazy, outrageous moments, and the cinematography, especially up until the third act, when you see all these triangles, specifically the church that the main villain's in, Jeremiah Sand. And I feel like, like you said, Sam, as a work of art, I really couldn't fault it on the aesthetic and everything. I mean, some of the choices, I wasn't too sure about. So like, obviously the oversaturation of some shots, and maybe some of the animation. But overall, I'd give it a solid 8, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I'd happily watch it again. And I'm also looking out for whatever Panos Cosmatos makes next, because he seems like a really unique director who knows how to create a certain vibe and aesthetic, which I don't mind dipping into every now and again. I mean, I definitely have to be in the right mood to watch Mandy. I will say that. Like, if I'm, I wouldn't call it, wouldn't call it a Hobbs and Shaw or anything like that. But it's definitely it's definitely a lot of fun. And also, I was just reading up on it as well. It was actually the composer Johan Johansson's last score before he passed away. So obviously, it's a shame that they lost him because he was great. I thought the score was one of the it's one of the saving graces of the film. I think it's amazing.
Also, the cinematographer Benjamin Loeb. Good job, Benjamin.
Yeah, great job.
Shout out to Benjamin.
Good job.
Loeb.
He's recently done a film. I'm not going to search up now. A film came out this year. Something about a woman. I can't remember the name of the film. I really want to check it out now. I've seen Mandy. I don't think it's going to be on.
Is it Pieces of a Woman?
As artistic as Mandy might be. Pieces of a Woman. Yeah. It's got quite good reviews.
Yeah.
I really want to check it out now. I've seen what he's done in Mandy, but it obviously looks like a completely different film. But I'm still interested in checking out his work. But yeah, anyone got any final points on Mandy, or are we alright to move on?
Don't do LSD, kids.
Yeah, don't do LSD. Watch Mandy and don't do LSD.
Or if you do LSD, make sure it's tainted as fuck. Oh, can we also just say about like the fucking the tiger? Like, that's such a random thing to add into a film, and the amount of difficulties it must have had to have a tiger on set. But I'm just glad that they had that one little scene.
Well, they did it to get the rock band cover reference, didn't they? For when the tiger's like roaring at the moon or whatever. That was for like the
Wasn't it because
the
he wore a
artwork.
shirt with a tiger on before
Yeah.
he went crazy, and they
Yeah,
caged the
yeah. Well, there's a lot of
tiger? So it was like, it's not him anymore. He's crazy, Nick. Crazy Nicolas. And then they let him
There's
free.
a lot of
it's like he's
imagery that
he's crazy
points
Nick
towards
now.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Well, like,
what
you know,
I might be
at
talking
the-
shit.
At the very end of the film, there is a an ending credit scene that, well, I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's also got the tiger in it and
What?
Nicholas.
I didn't know. I
Yeah.
wasn't aware of this.
I should have stayed around.
I'm gonna go and
Fuck.
check it out.
I was too busy loading up Hubie Halloween.
For a second run.
Well done. But yeah, if we're all ready to move on,
We are.
So in this part of the podcast, we've all prepared a question each that we're going to ask the others, and we're just going to hear everyone's opinion. We're going to try and start some conversations, I guess. Finn, I'll let you ask your question first.
Who was your favourite character in Hubie Halloween?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Does anyone want to start?
Go on, Sam. You sound like you already...
I've already said mine. Mine, guys.
Mike's. Ben Stiller, I assume, is Mike's.
I mean, come on, Chirag Gupta from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It just, I mean, he's been
Okay.
He's been my guy since 2010.
Your main man?
He was a class act in that. Karambra, again, just a shout out everybody. Karambra.
Just go follow him.
Anybody who does manage to find this podcast, if you can take one thing away, it's watch Karambra. I mean, he's got big things coming up.
You tell him we sent you. You tell him we sent you.
Lewis, who was your favourite character in Hubie Halloween?
I'm basing this more off of just, I like dogs, so probably Steve Buscemi, because he turns into a cute dog. And it's also Steve Buscemi, so at least he's creditable as an actor. It's no Kevin James wank or whatever. Wait, was that one of the questions? I'm sorry, I completely blanked for a second. What's going on?
Yeah, Finn's question was, who is your favourite character?
Oh, sorry, Finn. I would have had a
Hubie
more
Halloween.
thought out answer.
There's no such thing as a thought out answer for that question.
Well, that leads to you then, Sam.
I don't know.
That's impossible. Is it because they're all so good? Is that why?
It's just
So
gonna
you're
have
just
to
finding
be.
it hard.
It's gonna have to be Ben Stiller.
Cop out. That's
I
a
don't
cop
like
out. Is
anyone
all that is.
Yeah, who's,
Shaquille
Ben
O'Neal.
Stiller was the best part of the film. He's the only guy who said anything funny.
Well, it's like you haven't watched the movie. Adam Sandler says the funny stuff all the time. Did you not hear his many jokes about the boners?
He throws up everywhere.
Yeah, you don't see him throw up, and all all
Couldn't
that,
understand it.
See, I liked Steve Buscemi shitting on the floor.
Yeah.
And another great line from Kevin James, copper squat, because he was a policeman.
Okay, moving on.
Oh,
I think we've spoken enough about Hubie.
Swiftly moving on. That's the last question we give to Finn.
Does anyone want to ask a question next?
yeah, I got another.
No.
Right. Okay, I've got one.
Okay, Liz.
What is the best apocalyptic film you guys have seen in recent memories? Because I am currently trying. Well, I love anything to do with the apocalypse. I always find that you can find interesting subjects in it. But I've been I watched The Road not long ago, and I've seen it before, but watching it again, I just realized how bleak that film is, and I was wondering if there are any other apocalyptic films that you guys would recommend. No, cool. Okay, I'll just go fuck myself then.
No, it's a bit of a cheat answer, but my favorite apocalypse film, I do really love The Road. Viggo Mortensen's, he's the guy. But it's a cheat answer, like I said. But Mad Max, The Road Warrior.
Oh no, definitely, yeah. Mad Max is up there.
Everyone loves Fury Road. Well, I say everyone, but most people love Fury Road. But The Road Warrior is where Fury Road was, man. It's the 80s. It's beautiful. It's Mel Gibson. It's George Miller. It's one big action scene. What more do you want? It's awesome.
Yeah.
And the apocalyptic parts in it are great.
That's fair. I'd say definitely Road Warrior's up there.
Go on then, Sam.
Yeah, I've only seen Fury Road recently. You guys made me watch it. I haven't seen the rest of the Mad Maxes. I own them all. I'm yet to
We
see
held
them.
him at gunpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked. I'm glad I did watch it. I'm on the spot with apocalyptic films. I'm trying to think of some. One that comes to mind: 2008's Cloverfield. I love.
Yeah.
I just think the way it's done.
Who said that? Yeah. Who said yeah?
That was me.
That
only because it's only because it's interesting. I mean, I guess you could, in the broader context of what Cloverfield, the franchise, is supposed to be, it technically is an apocalyptic film. But I would count that more as like a found footage monster kind of. I guess it's actually no. I tell a lie. I guess that counts as apocalyptic.
I mean, if we're not going with that, then we could.
He already admitted he was on the spot list. He already admitted that he was bereft of answers.
Okay, well, I'll go with something like. What about Is it too out there saying Edgar Wright's The World's End? Is that apocalyptic?
No, that's definitely apocalyptic.
That's one of my. I mean, I love all of Edgar Wright's films, but that one's great.
I thought Lewis was saying no.
I mean, it's about out there for apocalypse. It's not 28 Days Later, but it's there's definitely an apocalypse in it. So yeah, that'd probably be my answer on the spot.
Very nice. Not This Is the End.
Shut up, Finn.
Is that your pick?
No, it's not. It's not. It's funny. Well, it's not funny, but Mike was saying, people love Mad Max Fury Road. That was literally my pick. One of my favorite films, let alone just apocalyptic films. I just really love Mad Max Fury Road. I just think just everything about it, the action, the story. I think Tom Hardy's awesome. I think Furiosa is awesome. Big Bad Charlize Theron. I thought it was a great story, and just a great world as well. And also just I don't know, the action scenes and
the action's great.
The chaos.
We're really gonna have to do an episode on the Mad Max films, I recken. I'd love that.
Probably.
Yeah, that'd be up for that.
Very, very nice. But yeah, that was my pick.
Have you guys seen I've got a couple because I've been kind of binging some at the moment, but obviously, like I said, Children of Men I think is amazing. I think obviously Alfonso Cuarón, anything he does is going to be top notch. Snowpiercer, I guess I'd count that as apocalyptic. It's quite a good one.
Definitely.
I mean, I just feel like when there's a film, there's the different kind of like Snowpiercer is a strange kind of, it's South Korean, so it's quite. I wouldn't call it pure apocalyptic because it's obviously all set on a train, but the whole setting of just being, in a world that is kind of slowly, fading away, I find so interesting. That's why, like, 28 Days Later, count that. That's really, really good. I guess this is a far out one. I wouldn't call it an apocalyptic film. But I'd say more a more like apocalyptic of the character himself. But I'd say I'm thinking of Ending Things. That's got overtones of like literally the world is falling apart. And like, I mean, if we're going to talk about that sort of thing, then I definitely feel like that counts.
Yeah,
literally, but that's more like the mental state.
I love how that counts, but 2008's Cloverfield doesn't count.
Mate, no found footage is going to be an apocalyptic film.
Okay, yeah, I completely get what you mean though with them thinking of Ending Things. I don't think Mike and Finn have seen it yet.
We got. Well, what's the pick for this week? Actually, if that's moving on to something.
I've got to ask my question, and Mike's got to ask his first.
Yeah,
but I'll get
Lewis.
Oh, sorry.
Trying to skip our questions.
Sorry about that.
Who do you think you are, Lewis?
Try follow the layout. Okay, so I read a BBC News article.
No, you didn't.
That said they are planning on doing. There's only 2 more Fast and Furious movies, guys.
What?
2.
What am I going to do with myself?
Right. Okay. Brilliant.
And in honor of that, we've seen some pretty star-studded actors join the Fast and Furious franchise. Jason Statham, The Rock, John Cena's joined for the 9th one. Who would you guys pick to join for the last Fast and Furious film? And why would they be the best? Why would they be the best?
Jackie Chan.
Wait. So they could be dead?
Jackie Chan's not dead.
No,
No, they have to be alive. They have to be alive.
All right. Well, he's like Nicolas Cage, Jackie Chan. They're both dead. I was like, wait a minute.
And if you don't mind, I'm gonna turn this. I'm gonna turn this into a little bit of a debate, a little short one, and I want to pick who makes the best point for who's joining the Fast and Furious cast.
Oh, so you're like the judge, jury, and executioner.
I am. I'm Vin Diesel. All
right. Does anyone want to start, or can I take the floor?
Oh, take the floor, sexy. Go crazy.
Right. My pick is Will Smith.
Oh, Mike! Oh, you haven't won. I just saw Mike's face. You have not won.
My reasoning is because Will Smith is only ever good, from what I perceive, is in charismatic roles. He doesn't work in serious roles. He's not good in serious roles. And I think if he were in a Fast and Furious franchise, a franchise which notoriously doesn't take itself seriously, he'd be able to be charismatic and also have the on-screen presence of Will Smith, which is what they've been going for with people like John Cena and The Rock and all of these people. I can't stand the franchise, and Will Smith annoys me in any serious role. So yeah, Will Smith's my pick.
Or including The Pursuit of Happiness. Sorry.
I guess that's an that's an exception.
I like the points about charisma. I think I am going to deduct a point for the fact that you didn't say it's going to be Bad Boys meet Fast and Furious. That's that's an easy point to be had there. But yeah, no, I like the argument. I can see it, Lewis.
These guys have had more time to think, so they should be deducted points.
Wait, do you mean we can actually attach franchises? Like, we can attach franchises to? Oh.
No, you just have to give me an actor.
Okay. Okay, I was gonna say, like, if I could connect universes, then oh boy. I mean, I said Jackie Chan, but the main reason why is, he's getting older now. Actually, maybe not Jackie Chan. I'm thinking more Donnie Yen. I've just come off of an Ip Man binge.
Donnie Yen.
And
okay.
Donnie Yen
I do love Ip Man.
If Donnie Yen was a villain in a Fast and Furious film, I feel like he would play it really, really well. And I'd enjoy it. I'm not a massive fan of the Fast and Furious films, but to see someone who could do their own martial arts and also beat the fuck out of Vin Diesel and probably John Cena in a realistic way, I'd really enjoy that. But yeah.
Do you know what? I'm gonna marry. I'm a big Ip Man guy, and I do actually appreciate the inclusion of him as a villain.
Yeah.
I do like that cell. I can see that. I like it, Finn.
All right. So, my chosen actor would be Christopher Walken, but his name will be changed in the movie to be Christopher Driving, and he's always driving.
Okay, Finn's lost.
And also,
Finn's out. It's over. Finn's done. Lewis wins out. Lewis wins out by a hair. Sam, if you'd have brought up apples, you would have won. Lewis has won. Finn's disqualified from any sort of questions or answers.
Let me make my point. You haven't heard the rest of it. All right, so his name
I'm the
is
judge, and I can say when it's over, Finn. I can say when it's over.
So his name is Christopher Driving, okay? And
I expected big things from you, man. You're the Fast
I
and
was really
Furious
expecting
guy.
like a sick, like maybe Dave Bautista or something.
what do you mean?
Yeah,
Christopher Walken is
you
sick.
could have done another wrestler. It would have
Sorry,
been amazing.
sorry,
But
Chris-
no, you've picked up Christopher
Okay,
Driving. You've lost.
So we got Christopher Driving, and whenever he's in a car, they only play Weapon of Choice, and he does the Weapon of Choice dance as he's beating up like Dwayne and Vin Diesel, like to the beat of Weapon of Choice.
Sam's question.
Okay, let's move on.
Wait, who won? Who won?
Lewis, I think.
I told you, Lewis won. Lewis
Oh wait, what? Who came second?
Sam.
Oh wait,
Sam
what?
came
Yeah,
second.
yeah, let's think about that, Finn.
This is some bullshit.
Yeah, if we're ready to move on. I've got two. Yeah, I'll go with this one. This one's mainly a debate for you guys. I just want you to have a little chat about which is your favourite Lord of the Rings movie.
Ooh, I like this one. Okay, well, I'm gonna
Fellowship
start.
of the Ring.
Yeah, I'm gonna start. Okay, well, I was gonna go Fellowship of the Ring, but for funsies, I'll go Return of the King.
Finn's stuck with the two
It's
tables.
like, oh no, they've chosen Fellowship of the Ring and Return of the King. Which one do I choose?
Oh.
It's like the Hobbit better than the Five Armies.
Can I choose the Hobbit an unexpected journey? No, I'm not going to. Don't worry.
You can. You don't have to pick different
No,
ones. You can pick the same.
yeah, I'm
Just
not,
have a chat about why you like those ones. I guess. I can't say I've sat through all of the Lord of the Rings films. They don't interest me much.
Oh,
Sorry, Michael.
I haven't watched the.
I'll
Why are you
watch
asking
them
this
at
question
some
then?
point,
Go and
but I'm
watch
just
it, boy.
not.
Yeah, you need.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
you
thought
need
you guys should have a conversation.
their quality.
Oh, that's quite cute.
I haven't watched them in so long though. I need to remember which one's which.
Right.
How
Okay.
can you not remember? They're so
Right.
like equally cut.
My point is,
Damn it.
it doesn't matter what I say
You're mixing
anymore.
up the Desolation of Smug with like Fellowship of the Ring.
And then the dragon came in.
It's like,
Gandalf.
which one's where the guy dresses like a woman and has a load of gold in his pants?
No, okay, well, so Return. Okay, I think Fellowship. If we're going for that, Fellowship of the Ring is my favorite because it's the start of what I think is the best franchise of all time. At the time when it was being made, it was all mostly practical effects mixed in. Like, I obviously, there's a lot of CGI in it, and it still holds up. But the idea to make the Nazguls and everything actually just people in robes, that was because they couldn't afford to CGI anything or give them like to make them look like anything more. And I think it makes them scarier and works even better. And it's just such a good beginning to a franchise that stays consistently amazing. And I'm only picking Fellowship of the Ring because it's the first one I watched. So if I could pick all three of them at the same time, I would.
It's a beautiful movie. I mean, it's the first one is where they're all together. It's such a beautiful like team. Like they do feel like a fellowship. By the time it gets to Gandalf's death, it feels like they all feel that. When they're all reacting and you see everyone's pain. I think it's just a beautiful cast. It's a beautiful story that even I love the extended editions. Okay, this is a 4-hour long movie, and I would not take out any of it. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're pretty goddamn awesome. Although it's hard. My memory's pretty terrible. I quite like the I think my favorite was the Two Towers. I think how they came off the first film and kind of sewed into the third, like ended it and kind of they worked it well, like a good setup for the third film. I just thought it was really good because the Two Towers, that was the one with the battle with like the elephants and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So your favourite part about the middle part was that it did a good job following up in front of the first one, and it set up the third.
Yeah, but I thought, I mean, you guys have made some good points. I'm trying to remember, like, you guys have made really good points. I'm stammering over here.
It sets up Gollum. It sets up Gollum.
Like, I like all of them. I think.
Like as a character.
Yeah, I couldn't decide. I'm not very good at quick thinking. I'll have to rewatch them to know. I haven't seen them in so long.
The other kids.
my brain just tells me that when I watched it, I enjoyed it.
My favourite part about the second one is that it's the second one.
No, I'm terrible at points, man. I know.
Well, the stuff with Treebeard's quite fun as well.
I get what you were going.
There was some cool elephant scenes. I thought the progression of Gimli's like one of my favourite characters, so I thought his progression, him and the elves, friendship.
Legolas, yeah.
Him and Legolas, yeah.
Oh, you should remember Legolas's name.
It's because I'm trying to find a point, so my brain's like, think of something.
I say, but what you're saying is, I know what you mean, is that not many middle films can do a middle film so well. Two Towers does really well as being a movie by itself, as well as being sandwiched between the other two, which is, technically, it's the hardest job to pull off. As much as I made a joke, following up the first one and leading on to a third one effectively is a tricky challenge.
Which the Two Towers did excellently. Yeah. Also, the battle for Helm's Deep is probably my favourite battle.
That is awesome. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, it's so good.
Well, there you go then.
Yes, everyone's done. So before
you got to watch the Lord of the Rings. I got to watch it with you by the sounds of it again. But we got to watch the extended edition with Mike. If we start them now, Sam, we'll be done by like next week.
By Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait for your recommendation for that. Because I'm not doing it.
Yeah, wait. Actually, speaking about that, Sam, are we allowed to recommend films within trilogies? Is that?
Well,
Yeah?
I guess it depends. I feel like a lot of our podcasts are going to follow a similar structure to this. If we want to talk about trilogies, then there's no reason why we couldn't just make a whole episode about that trilogy. Depending on the trilogy.
It's just because, like, if, like, Finn, like, I don't know, recommends, like, Tokyo Drift or something, like, is that a thing that we can just dip in and watch?
And can we limit it? Can we limit it as trilogies? We can't say, Finn can't tell us to watch every Fast and Furious.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, what?
Or every Adam Sandler movie or anything. Okay, like, it's one film, or it's a necessary trilogy.
What? This is some horse shit.
Yeah. Well, so to give context to what everyone's talking about, at the end of every episode, we're going to be recommending. We will take it in turns each to recommend a film that we'll discuss in the next podcast. So this week we talked about Mandy. Next week we're going to talk about a film that I'm recommending. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. I know.
Which is?
I haven't seen it yet. It's 2014's Chef by Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Really?
It's been on my watch list for a long time, and I really want to get out of the way. So let's all watch that in the next couple of weeks. In 2 weeks' time, we'll probably be recording another episode. Or a week's time or so, we'll record another episode.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Are we ending it with a? Are we ending it with a song like a?
We're not ending this with a musical number.
Inepticast.
Should we just cut to black like Sopranos?
Dramatic.
Or we should say Autobots roll out.
We gotta get like a mute button for this.
Well, anyway, so that's my recommendation. We'll all watch that in a week.
All right, cool. Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone, I assume, our main form of social media in which we'll be, advertising these episodes and what films we're going to talk about will be Instagram at Inepticast. And then obviously on YouTube where these will be posted originally. That's our only two social platforms at the moment. Luckily, Inepticast wasn't taken by anything anywhere, so we just got Inepticast and we didn't have to put any numbers behind it or underscores.
Like, follow, and subscribe, guys. Smash that fucking like button.
Smash that bell.
If anyone listening has any recommendations, good or terrible, please put them in the comment thing, or message us, or just send us some mail.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I guess if you want to, you guys can put your Letterboxd in the description if you want. I'll probably put mine in there. I review quite a lot of films in there.
Bit of self-service. Love it.
Yeah. But yeah, has anyone got any last words before we finish?
Please tune in next week if anyone is listening.
Yeah, so these are going to be posted every 2 weeks. We'll probably be recording every week or so, and they'll be posted every 2 weeks. That's the commitment.
Oh, we are committed.
But yeah, no, I'm just excited to watch some more films and obviously talk about it with you guys. And if anyone's listening, feel free to pop in as well. But I obviously, I'll put my letterbox on and stuff, so we can recommend each other some films. And are we doing TV shows as well? Is that allowed, or is that a bit much?
We could do a TV special, I guess.
Yeah.
Not
okay. Limited
all the time, because obviously it takes a while to watch them. But yeah. But
okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Now I'm excited to see Chef again. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, who's seen it?
Me.
I've seen it.
Well, everyone's seen it but me. Cool.
Well, first impressions then.
Yeah. I mean, I own it. I really want to watch it. It's been a while since I've bought it, so. But yeah, I guess we'll be ending it here then.
Peace.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.